Imagine this. You're 13 years old. It's the middle of the night in Nazi-occupied France. You hear footsteps, boots, marching, getting closer. Then, a loud knock. Before you can move, your door is kicked in. You're dragged out of bed, blindfolded, and taken somewhere. Cold, dark, and silent, except for the sound of screams echoing through the walls. This isn't fiction. This was Lyon, France in 1942, and the man behind it all wasn't a warlord. He wasn't a king. He was something worse. A man history will never forget. Klaus Barbie, the SS officer who came to be known as the Butcher of Lyon. Before we go further, ask yourself, can a single man break the soul of a city? Comment your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you believe history's darkest stories deserve to be remembered. In the spring of 1942, Nazi Germany had already swallowed most of Europe. France was under occupation, but in the city of Lyon, resistance was growing. The Nazis needed someone ruthless, someone who would make the people fear even their own thoughts. That man was Klaus Barbie. Born in 1913 in Bad Godesberg, Germany, Barbie was no ordinary officer. He wasn't famous. He wasn't a high-ranking general. But he had something else: absolute loyalty to Heinrich Himmler's twisted ideology and a cruel, calculating mind. He was appointed head of the Gestapo in Lyon, the Nazi secret police, with one mission: crush the French resistance at any cost. And he knew exactly how to do it. Barbie chose a curious location for his base of operations: Hotel Terminus, a seemingly normal hotel near Lyon's Perrache train station. But beneath its floors, he built a dungeon, a labyrinth of torture rooms, interrogation cells, and cold concrete walls where daylight never entered. What looked like an ordinary hotel from the street became one of the most feared buildings in Nazi-occupied Europe. Once you were taken into Hotel Terminus, you weren't expected to walk out again. Inside, Barbie's methods were not just violent. They were designed to destroy your will. There were no high-tech tools, just a chair, a table, and whatever Barbie or his men decided to use that day. Victims were beaten, burned with cigarettes, suspended by their wrists, or forced to listen to the screams of others, including friends, family, and children. Simone Lagrange, one of the survivors, recalled, "He tore out my hair, burned my hands. He asked for names. I gave him none." She was just 13 years old. Perhaps Barbie's most infamous act was the arrest of Jean Moulin, a legendary figure in the French resistance. In June 1943, Barbie personally oversaw Moulin's capture and for weeks tortured him at Hotel Terminus. Moulin never gave up a single name, but he died from his injuries shortly after being deported to Germany. Barbie proudly wrote in his own report, "We have struck at the head of the Hydra. Let them tremble." Lyon was no longer just a city. It had become a stage for terror. Barbie's presence was everywhere, in whispers, in disappearances, in sudden screams from behind hotel walls. People were too afraid to even speak. Resistance members worked in complete silence, knowing a single mistake could mean death, not just for them, but for their families. And yet, they kept going. The resistance refused to die. Barbie's cruelty wasn't limited to soldiers or fighters. In April 1944, he ordered the deportation of 44 Jewish children from a shelter in Izieu, most of them under the age of 10. None survived. This wasn't war. It was systematic, calculated evil. After the war, Klaus Barbie vanished. He was helped by a shocking ally, American intelligence. The US used him as an informant during the Cold War, helping him escape to Bolivia, where he lived comfortably under a false identity for years. But the survivors never forgot. In the 1980s, relentless efforts by Nazi hunters finally led to his extradition to France. And in 1987, he stood trial, not as a hero, not as a soldier, but as a criminal. The survivors faced him in court, some for the first time since their torture. He showed no remorse, but the world was watching. Klaus Barbie was convicted of crimes against humanity. He died in prison in 1991, but the scars he left on the victims, on Lyon, and on history remain. Hotel Terminus still stands today. Some walk by it without knowing what happened beneath their feet, but others remember. They remember what it means when justice sleeps. They remember how easily power can twist into cruelty. And they remember how one man tried to break them and failed. Do you think justice came too late? Can history ever truly hold people like Klaus Barbie accountable? Let us know in the comments. And if stories like this move you, if you believe the past should never be buried, subscribe to this channel and help keep these voices alive. Because in remembering, we protect the future.